Good evening to you, our dear visitors at online. Thank you so much for tuning in. The awaited Chisoboka It's Possible live talk show is right commencing. And we'd like to thank you for the love, for everything that you have been doing in the backyard to support this work. Just a small debrief about this talk show. We sat down as a team and we thought about having a holistic approach to life. And one of our Gospel Assembly Church uh, values is to nurture people and the lives of people uh, holistically. And so we would like to share life experiences. We like to touch lives through stories and in different aspects of life, areas of finance, areas of health, areas of growth, in all dimensions of life. So we are going to be sharing these stories and these testimonies and these experiences just to have a touch and a transformation in the lives of people. Now, I'm so excited that they are waited. It has been a prayer request and it has started. And so, why don't you go to your phone and just subscribe and like and share Gospel Assembly Church Kampala. Just go and share and be part of us this evening here. We are handling a very good or awesome topic on handling drug addiction. Come on, it has been that thing that most people have gone through. Addiction is a wide scope, it's a wide topic, but then we like to understand more about how can I try to overcome addiction in terms of the drugs and all other issues. So this evening, I have a very wonderful guest who is going to share his life experience of what he went through being a ganja man. In Uganda, they call it ganja man, or in Jamaica, they call it janga man. I don't know how they say in your language, ganja man, Jamaican. And we want to be sharing together and telling the people out there that are online how did it come and what uh, led you to the issue of drugs and all that. But before that, I would like to find out if someone met you on the streets of Kampala, streets of Gulu, or in Qatar, and would like to know about you. What would they say about you? Kindly tell us and the viewers more about yourself.
Back around 2000, could it be 11? I'm not so sure about that.
Okay.
Yeah, but my experience with Christ began around 2011 or 12, something like that. I am a married man.
Okay.
I'm also a Ugandan and a qualified
You also
journalist,
Ugandan. Yes.
also a social worker. I use football to empower young people in my community. Since 2009, I started a community-based organization called Platform Uganda that uses soccer to empower young people
Okay.
to be able to realize their dreams and use them so that they can contribute positively and meaningfully to society.
Wow. Eh, when you go for barriers, you'll find a whole list of data being read when someone passes on. But thank you for that wonderful introduction. He's an evangelist, he's a father, he's a coach, and I think most people call you Coach Kennedy, others call you Honorable. And thank you for joining in.
You're welcome.
We want to just start briefly. Um, how Tell us about your experience with the drugs. How did you go there? In Luganda, we say wagenda ekyakuingiza. Yes.
Actually, sometimes we use the word inspiration or inspiring, meaning positive things. But let me use the same word, inspiring. or I got the inspiration to use drugs. I cannot attribute anything to drugs, to my use of drugs particularly, but I could say around P6, peer pressure, media. I was raised by my mother,
Okay.
a single parent.
Mm.
So I want also to attribute that probably could have been one of the causes that led to me to the use of drugs.
So by then, where were you staying?
I am a born and raised of Makerere, but
Oh.
I neighbor places like Katanga, Kalere, Bwaise, Kawala, and I had many friends coming from those places.
Yes.
Around P6, primary 6,
Mm.
I remember I thought it was cool because the movies that we were watching then, the hip hop music the stars like Tupac Shakur
Come on.
and B.I.G., Run
Uh-huh.
DMC, we used to think it was cool, you know, the drugs in the movies you would see, and it would kick into my mind as a young person
You see someone
that this would
blowing
make
off.
you a star, because my dream was also to rap and, you know, become a star. And then I thought drugs would be a part of the journey.
Yes.
And then I had these big boys in our classes that were coming from some of the places around, let me call them ghettos, and they were my friends. So,
Yes.
you know, visiting their places, you would see such kind of people, and it was cool. And then I also had an uncle, rest in peace,
Oh.
who used to smoke cigarettes,
Yes.
and he was such an inspiration to my life. I wanted to be like him. And I was like, when I grow up, wow, Uncle Jemba is cool. So I wanted to be exactly like him. And then exactly whatever he did, I felt it was
Correct.
the correct thing. So
Mm.
probably the three elements of single parenthood, maybe the mother couldn't handle very well alone, and then the media, and then the environment that I was living in then,
Okay.
school, would be attributed to that, sir.
Okay. So, in a nutshell, I would like us to. This is a heart-to-heart session. We would like us to pour out ourselves to the viewers and just to tell them a debrief of what you were doing in the backyard. Okay. What are some of those drugs that you used to take? What were they doing to you that I made you to continue taking them? And just a little bit about that, and then we see what.
My first interaction with drugs was, like I said, in P6.
Yes.
Um,
That was at school.
yes. I remember when I went to senior one somewhere in the boarding school. I won't mention the school, but then it was too much. We would get it. There was space. There was time, and to answer that, yes, cigarettes. We began with, you know, rolling papers, and then trying to put some funny grass, and then we would, you know, smoke, and then the journey increased. Then I reached a level where I would buy and, you know, smoke. The drugs then, you know, there is Cuba these days, but I wasn't familiar with Cuba then, but it was a marijuana, Enjaga,
What
what
is
they call
Cuba?
Enjaga.
Cuba, this
I
one
see
that
Cuba these days, and I don't have too much experience with it. I have never interacted with it. The only drug I remember I interacted so much with was Enjaga, what I think most people call marijuana, and then
So,
liquors like Waraji, Uganda Waraji, the local brew, stuff like that, and you asked what effect did it have to me. I remember first cigarettes would make me think I am man. It would make me I am the man of the time. But drugs like marijuana, first of all, I am a lover of shoes. And so I remember they would tell me whenever I would get high that I would cry. The pair of shoes is in my legs,
Okay.
my foot, but I'm crying. Where is my shoes? I would like hang on a friend and say, "You've stolen my shoes." Yet it's and it could make me a little bit, or a little bit is not a good word. It would make me violent. It would make me think I would beat the whole world. I remember there's a time when I took school fees and used it for my own business. And then this uncle of mine wanted to punish me. Actually, he punished me, but it wasn't really like lie down. It was boxing one another because I was high, and then he was telling me, where's the school fees, where's the receipt, stuff like that.
Yes.
So we would box. And then another thing, it. I realize it treats everyone differently. I have friends of mine that when they have they have snorted weed, they get energy and they could farm, like dig and dig and dig until I had that guy who was my friend I grew up with. But then to me, it made me sleep a lot. I would sleep like until, and then I've also watched guys who smoke it and they remain normal as if they are normal. I have gotten friends that have ran mad, like real mad,
Yes.
because of drugs, and the side effects of drugs they are many, they are enormous, and most of them I realize they are not good.
Okay. With your experience, can you tell someone that is taking the drugs or the marijuana, for example, from your experience? There may be some parent out there that would like to maybe simply look at their children and try to help them by some signs and symptoms or behavior changes in them that can be connected to that.
Definitely, I don't know how to put that, but from experience, like I was saying, drugs treat everyone differently. But some of the behavior changes that one would try to at least look out for, sometimes these drug addicts try to distance themselves from their families.
Okay.
First of all, it's not easy to advise them, and they no longer their friends that might not
Yes.
even be the family. Those are things that you could notice. Some try to not be friendly with their families, but also some would really be like, for instance, I have a friend. When he gets high, he laughs. He laughs like crazy.
Yes.
Yeah, but I won't be an expert say this and this, but I have noticed that as parents,
Yes.
we need to know our children from day one. Each and every day comes with a lot of challenges.
Yes.
It comes with a lot of experiences. But if a parent is in the life of the child,
Yes.
you would notice that what is happening. First of all, we need to be friends to our children. Because if I lie to you that these are the changes or these are the behavior, whatever that you could notice in a drug addict,
And
I'll-
usually
I'll
those
be a
common,
liar.
common ones.
yes, the common one will be they distance from the family. They are hard to advise. They look for friends. You could also see that the kind of mentors or idols these guys are looking up to have changed. And it also comes back to knowing your child
Yes.
from since day one. Because if you don't know a person, you wouldn't know something wrong is happening with that person.
Yes.
Probably you may think something wrong is happening, yet it's normal. And then you would think it's normal, yet something wrong is happening.
Yes.
Basically, I would say one needs to know his child.
Yeah.
The people in our lives, we need to know them. When they get happy, how do they behave? When they get sad, how do they behave? Then from there, that's a good beginning to know what is happening to Charles.
Yeah.
These days, he's so distant. These days, he's laughing a lot. These days, he's rude. You know,
energetic.
he's so energetic, something like that. But I've also come to believe that it is not true that Njaga makes someone energetic. It is a lie. Many young people think that, let me even say this in Luganda. Bw'onywa enjaga obeera w'amaanyi. Baba kubanga bulijjo. Era osanga, for instance, me when I used to snort weed, I would really be very weak. All I needed was to sleep. And that was me. So, everyone is treated differently. Yeah.
I just want us to flash back a little concerning when you in P6 you said you began with cigarettes, and then so from cigarettes you went to the weed. The Jaga.
Yes, by the way, I am forgetting. I don't know the English term for mailungi. Could it be? I will remember that. But I also used to use that, that grass that we put in this chewing gum, and yeah, it's cool. It's mostly used by our brothers from Somalia. Yes, I also used that for a very long time. From cigarettes, it was marijuana.
Okay.
Then I think, not remembering well, but I think the same time I used mailungi. Yeah.
With the myron, you just keep chewing and chewing and chewing.
It is said it's even more deadly than njaga, but it's a die slow, kind of drug. Yes, its effect is realized like later.
We have now.
Not immediately.
I know people that tell me, you see, when I take this myronji, the one that the green leaves, that they don't sleep. It makes them have confidence, and I know of some young people that have those, let me call them the myth about that drug, and they look at it as, okay, when I take it I'm going to be so high, when I chew it, I am going to be ndakubera ku vibe. According to you, you think from your own experience it also gave you those benefits, or you're just doing it for leisure?
Some of the things we are created to be medicine.
Yes.
Let's leave alone marijuana and the so-called drugs, like drug abuse. There are many addictions that could not even be in terms of drugs.
Yes.
But anything, the white man says, too much of anything is bad. Probably it starts as if it's funny, it is enjoyable, it's exciting, but in the long run, it turns out to be dangerous. These things are addictive. These things are deadly. For instance, the marijuana, and I mean could it be the bangi? I think it could be what they call bangi, the myronji.
Yes.
It is at first, it doesn't take you high. At first, it is something that you could take for some time until when you realize its negative effects. I heard of someone who ate it for a long time, because for it, it's not about snorting. It is eaten. And so someone was operated, he had a surgery because of that.
Yes.
And I remember the scientific language, I'm not so conversant with it, but the grass was found in his stomach. It is deadly. It is also addictive. Yes, truth is, those are things that can disturb your sleep. Yes. And I realize myronji is good at that. But it also has many other side effects. Yes.
Because we know anything addictive, that's why they usually tell us, take note of the thoughts you have. It will lead you to an action. And from an action, it will lead you to a habit, it will lead you to an addiction now.
Let me tell you a story.
Yes.
I think I was in senior 6 vacation. Then we would have a team. We went to cut trees. we went in the forest and we were doing our work there, and then we had our benson of marijuana,
Benzene.
a benson full of marijuana. So after working, we would sit and try and begin conversing as we are smoking. And then I remember this guy. He was called Edie. Edie would smoke. He wasn't nowhere a soldier, but whenever he smoked and he got high,
Yes.
he would lie to himself that he's a commando in UPDF. He would tell you stories. When I was, I beat them. They were thousands, and until when Afande told me, Edie, they're all dead. And he was really telling us a movie that he was part of. It takes you into a land I always call self-denial.
Yes.
It takes away the real you, and it brings a different person into the equation.
An external Kennedy.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what a lot of young men, the wannabe artists, believe and think that in order to have a record out there for the people to appreciate you, this has to be a part of you.
Yeah.
It is a lie. I've also realized good artists who have never even used. So you can yourself,
Yeah.
and you can still be a great footballer, a great artist. I have met great talented footballers
Yeah.
that have turned into a nuisance because they were deceived. They believed that when you take drugs, it makes you more hard, it makes you more skillful, and then the talent is wasted like that. Some are in Butabika, some are on the street. It is sad.
Yeah.
It is sad, but my experience with drugs wasn't a good one. That's what I can say. Because when I keep on sharing these experiences with my friends in the ghettos, some of them will give me examples of other people that are really thriving and yet they are drug addicts.
Yes.
Stuff like that. But I think there is also a deliberate move by either some or the devil to spoil our young people through drugs. It is a deliberate move. It is sold out there. There's some artists, there's some celebrities that are representing this and they are really selling it out. But I am so grateful for this opportunity that I can share my experience. That is the time when I even started stealing money from home. And then everyone would not trust me because every coin that I saw would be something that I would
Buy
use
something,
probably
yes.
to go and buy, to gamble, or, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. So that really affected your character. It affected your way of life. That was not good at all. How did now that start the journey of reconciliation, journey of coming back? And from your experience, from your talk, I see a lot of peer pressure, group influence that really put you in there. And a little bit I didn't have maybe some mentors, or you were there, but then the influence of the group was so much. Yes.
And also, how I started, like, it wasn't an easy journey because I would decide to leave and, stop. But then eventually, after some time, I would go back to the ghetto.
Yes.
And then I would see them and I was like, wow, I'm missing out. And then I would do it. It wasn't really easy. But I remember one of the things that inspired me,
Yes.
not all of it, but one of the things that inspired me. I would go home and everyone would say, Kennedy Wuyo, Kennedy Wuyo. That Kennedy has come, Kennedy has come. So, no one trusted me. And one of the things that I crave for in life is to be trusted.
Yes.
And when I realize someone is not trusting me, it hurts me to the depth. So I was like, really? And I love my family. I want to be trusted by them. And then they're not trusting me. I'm like, Nara, this is not the way to go. I thank God I met some guys. This is the type, the life I wanted to, to be and all that. But then these guys were already doing it better than me.
Uh-huh.
And these guys were not taking alcohol. They were not taking Waraj. They were not taking Njaga. And I was like, it's possible. It is possible. I can be a great rapper without being drunk, without being high. And then the journey started. I also want to attribute the success to the day I got saved. It crowned all of the journey, because I remember I could, want to go, stop, and then I would again, the journey was full of ups and downs, but there was a deliberate decision. I got to understand this is not the life that I want for myself. I got to realize that if I am to be someone useful,
somebody,
I need to decide to change. Then the decision that I made to stop is what really caused where I am right now. I won't say it was a one-off, but I thank God I am a drug-free man.
So it's yourself. You said, me. You are tired of it.
I can't say me, because I have seen people. I have talked to people. I have talked to friends. I have talked to young people. And they are seeing what they're doing is bad. But they don't have the power. They don't have what it takes to stop.
Well,
it is by the grace of God who puts even the desire in you to realize that you are hurting yourself. You are spoiling yourself. It's dangerous. And then the journey begins. He works in us. But we need to realize. We need to know that where we are going is danger.
I would like us to tell our viewers, there's somebody out there struggling. I know most of the times it is, as young people, you do those things in secret. No one even sometimes knows that you are really. Yesterday I was at a shop and I was going to buy something. Then this young man comes and then says, Auntie, I want to wafe our things. And they packed for the guy 4 sticks of cigarettes. And he didn't want anyone to know. He even hid it underneath below the polythene bag. So I would like us to give someone some approach. Breaking an addiction is not something, it's like you said. What are some of those things that someone can do to practically try to start breaking the pattern slowly? Because it's a process. I know you want to wake up one day and then you're like, now the drug thing is out of me. Like you said, you see in your testimony, you're saying you would go back.
I really struggled for a long, long time.
Yes. I don't know how many years it took you or months.
I can't even remember, and I can't even tell you this is when I stopped.
Yes.
I don't remember when I stopped, but I remember I stopped.
So what's the one take you can first give them that someone is out there and struggling and would like to have something to break that pattern over the addiction?
First and foremost, a little bit diversionary, but let me tell you, it all begins with our parents. A strong family, full of love, a family that is interested in raising a godly generation.
Yes.
It begins with such a family.
Yeah.
Certain things would not happen to our children if we are interested. If we invest our time and resources into the lives of our children.
Yes.
Today, parents have assumed that paying too much money to schools is all there is. And our children are being wasted, are being spoiled in those schools. I didn't tell you. When I went to I wanted to say the school. When I went to that school in secondary,
yes,
then there it was like they say there was a vibe.
Yeah.
We had all the access. And I think, if I haven't forgotten, this is when I started drinking. I started with this strong drink, local brew called a man. I don't know its English word. It was tough. Yeah. And then Waraji now became, that super Waraji became something like water. We learn a lot of bad manners in schools. more so in boarding school. I want to be one of the people who say no to boarding schools because they are more harm. They do more harm than good to our children. When God was creating this world, He gave children to parents, not to boarding school. One of our primary responsibilities as parents is to watch over these children from Monday up to Sunday, from January up to December. It begins with that.
Yeah.
Now to the young people, now to the parents that have children that are struggling with drugs.
Yes.
I can't say I have the solution, but I can, as someone who ever experienced such, I could say it begins with love to the parents
Yes.
of this child. Because there's nowhere you are going, you cannot turn back this child into the womb.
You have an
He's your
influence.
child. Now it begins with love, understanding, and probably trying to work with this child a way out. Try to change the usual means of communication,
Yes.
the usual way of doing things.
Yes.
It's a tough time. Sometimes it's even discouraging because he may or she may keep on going back.
Yes.
But create a desire in the child where the child will realize this is hurting. This is not the life to be.
Yeah.
This is not the life that he that is going to produce good results. But it begins with loving this child because he or she is your child.
Yes.
You are not going to have another child like him. You work, and God will really ask questions about the lives of our children.
Yes.
So it begins with the parents. To the children, the young people that are being disturbed by drugs, I was there. It is just that the program is short. I would have shared a lot, and I'm the kind of person who has had a lot of addictions in my life.
Okay.
And the only thing that I haven't done probably is I have never, and I will never, become a homosexual. But probably that's the only worst thing that I have never done. But I have experienced a lot of, I've been addicted to a lot of things, and probably naturally I'm one who is easily taken up by, things. I pour my heart into things a lot. But it begins with saying, this is wrong, this is hurting. Examples around. One of the people that we looked up to, sometimes we have people we are looking up to and we will
Yes.
never meet, like Tupac Shakur and other people. Their time, their life was wasted because of drugs, guns, and violence. Here in Uganda, I would give a list of people who would have been very prominent and useful.
Yeah.
But I don't want to mention names.
So that
But they're out
means-
there being wasted. You realize that.
Yeah.
So if you look around the surroundings, statistically, you would realize that the drugs have done more harm than good. I don't want to say, because if I say this again, I may contradict myself. I may confuse a lot of people.
Yes.
But allow me say this, that these drugs are not bad, because some of them are treating diseases. Some of them are used in hospitals
yes.
to cure diseases. But when it becomes a habit,
You
when
misuse them.
it becomes your lifestyle, that's where the word misuse comes into the equation.
Or abuse.
Yes, abuse comes into the equation. These drugs, when abused, they are very dangerous. They will not leave you the same. God has a good plan for you.
Okay.
And trust me, when you watch over yourself, ask for God's intervention into the story. He will heal you. He will help you. It begins with you. It
Okay.
begins by making a decision to stop.
Okay, it begins with him, and then also I think whenever I share, I'm picking out lessons. When you're giving those examples of those artists that you were looking up to, I think that calls to us as young people to look at what we watch, what we listen to, because that also influences our behavior. So if you are out there and you like to go off an addiction, let's say pornography, let's say drugs, let's say whatever. There are so many kinds of addictions. The starting point to me is looking at the thing that is facilitating that action to happen. So if it is music, what kind of music do you listen to, and what do you see? Because what you see, these eyes here the things that let in us, the action things about us. So I want to say that it's also important for us to weigh or verify the things we watch. You can't be saying I want to overcome pornography, I want to overcome the smoking, but then you're still looking up to them as the main people. You keep looking at Tupac or whatever, smoking his weed or whoever the person may be.
Little wine.
Eh, the ganja man, and they are just influencing you each time and each day. There must be some distraction towards that. I think that's my point. There must be something distracting you
The
towards
media
that.
is playing, if not, it is deliberately
Mm.
organized in such a way to influence us.
Yes.
And the content out there, probably 95%, is meant to destroy. It's high time we refocus. Out of experience, whenever there's a certain group of people that I used to interact with, and whenever I would go back, it was hard for me until when I realized these people are not good for my journey.
Yeah.
I had to drop some of them until when I was sure, because I loved them so much. We had shared a lot of things together, fun experiences. As a wannabe artist, a wannabe rapper, these are people that we really enjoyed our music. So they were valued into my life. But I had to make a decision to drop some of them or all of them. There are places I said that is a no-go zone until when I was really sure. It took me many years to go back because I wanted also to be an inspiration to them.
Yeah.
But the media, like you were saying, the things we listen to, the things we watch, there's some music that is violent.
Yes.
Now for the young ones, parents, the cartoons our children watch, they are tailored in such a way that they are sending a message into the medulla oblongata of the child. So it is very important to really be very critical to what we watch, and our parents also be careful about what your children watch, listen to, and where they go. It's better we interact and also interrupt their schedules.
And I think also it also, as parents, I'm not a biological parent right now, but at least I am.
When are you becoming one?
That you should come after the show.
We are
However,
going to pray for you before the show.
however, I think the other thing that I keep noting out is when I look at the environment, there are also things that we really need to work on besides the media. There should be also a deliberate action from you, the person that is struggling with the addiction, to get help, to go and say, hey, I am struggling. That's when we bring out our storyline where we're talking about the Chisobo card. It's possible. It's possible. He has told you he has gone through it. He has done it. So it's not a mistake, or it's not a um, it's not that you're not human, that you can have those mistakes done. But then what we're saying is that it is possible for you to rewrite your story. For you to rewrite your story and you say, hey, I think I messed up here. This is what is better for me. Many times we look at the actions and forget the consequences of our actions. If you say, I'm going to eat, that's just you decided, I'm going to eat. It's an action point. But then you forget the consequences of the eating. If it is, you say, I'm going to fight, you forget the consequences of what may come out. So as young people, I want to encourage all of us, the young people, and also even the older people. I also know of elderly people that are out there that are struggling really with different addictions. And some of us came from families where, families are not okay because of addictions, of drinking and all kinds of things. Let us also learn to look at the consequences. If I'm smoking, it may not, as a Christian, affect so much of your spiritual life. What about your health? What about your health? I'm not a Morocco. I'm not a Morocco. I'm not a born again. Yes, but then look at your health. There's a saying that health is, you can't be there all having Range Rovers and Pathfinders and all those expensive cars, yet you're dying. You're operation after operation. You're just spending your money on treating yourself. What does it profit you as a young person, as an elderly person, to keep just spending your money on the things which are not valuable? Okay, are those things going to add something to you? So take note of the decision you're going to make and its action or consequences, because that will either build your life or break your life. And then the other thing that we need to look around as we are winding up this program is take note of who are your friends, because a good friend will bring you out from any
The
challenge.
Holy Bible says, bad company corrupts good morals.
Yes, bad company corrupts good morals. There's no one in this world here, even when you and trying to look for jobs, and you and testify to you that is a company that can employ someone without good morals. And some of those good morals are good character or good behaviors. And so this has been a wonderful time sharing these experiences together. And if there's a parent out there, you have a child, and you see them struggling, he has given us some love that God used to bring us back to the relationship that was broken.
Could we say, Chisoboka, never give up on your child?
Yes. Chisoboka, never give up on your child. It's possible. It may take time, but then it's going to come for you that watching us. You'll get over it. It is possible. We're just giving you hope and encouragement to stand firm and know that God loves you and get time to go off your grab. All right. So thank you so much, my dear guests. I want to just give you a second to say a one word to them, to our dear viewers. And our dear viewers, please, if you want to, you have something to, if you want to comment, please go in the comment section below and comment. And you want to ask questions, please, you will see the numbers running down there. Thank you so much. Please, the one take home.
Thank you very much for this opportunity that you've given me to have a say. I am so radical. I want to tell the parents, I hate boarding schools. That is my experience. It is okay to have a different opinion, but boarding schools are a danger to the lives of our children. Parents take their children at the age of 3 years to boarding school. Now they really get all their natural, God-given responsibilities to the teachers. By the way, even these days, some teachers are addicts, drug addicts. So, trust me, a home is a good environment to raise a child in. By the way, there are even people like older people like me who are struggling with drugs.
Yeah, that I know.
Yes,
Yeah.
by the grace of God, you can.
Amen.
Chisoboka. Thank you very much, Brother Ikomba, for the opportunity,
Thank you.
for sharing my life story. It wasn't easy, but it's possible. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And to our dear viewers, thank you so much for watching. It has been an awesome moment sharing the life testimony of Brother Kennedy Makumbi, Honorable Father, about
People know that I am a politician subscribing under Alliance for National Transformation.
Yes.
Come 2026, I am going to represent Kawempe South in Parliament.
All right. So thank you so much, and please subscribe, hit the notification button, and I also want to thank God for the Stibat Media. You want weddings be done by the best media around town, Kampala, Uganda. Stibat Media. Thank you so much, and God bless you. Have a good time.